So here we are on what we affectionately call Abraham's Ridge. And unfortunately, you can't feel it, but the coolness from the western wind has broken this heat wave that we've had for more than a week. And it is such a relief. And this is what we have in Jerusalem. We have two completely different climates, but most of the time we have the cool western breeze. And so I'm out filming with Jonathan because it's such a treat to be out in this coolness. So Abraham's Ridge is also known as the Haas Promenade. It is the place where it's believed that Abraham came in Genesis 22 and had this amazing experience, really his Gethsemane moment, when he left behind his servants and continued towards what we see in front of us here, the Temple Mount. And there he was willing and ready to sacrifice his most beloved son. This is where the word love is introduced to us. And he says to his servants, "The lad and I will go yonder, and then we will return. We're going to worship." So Abraham understood resurrection power because he was completely ready to sacrifice his son. When we think about Abraham, Abraham was having a supreme moment in his life when he was living in Beersheba. And at that time, God decided, when everything is a bowl of cherries, you know that expression, I've just been picking cherries about a mile away from here today. When everything is just a bowl of cherries, that's the time that God needs to test our heart. And that's exactly what happened to Abraham. And from this ridge, Abraham continued alone with his son, his precious son, Isaac, and of course was stopped by the angel of the Lord, the pre-incarnate Lord himself, who said, "Now I know you fear God because you have not withheld from me even your only son." And isn't that wonderful? Your only begotten and beloved son. So these are the words of Genesis 22, and we review those words here when we come and look at this part of the city. Right behind us, of course, is the old city of today. You can see the Temple Mount. You can see the city walls from the 16th century. You can see, of course, to the west, modern Jerusalem, and of course, the famous Mount of Olives with 3 distinct towers, where, of course, the Lord's foot will stand on that day, the day of his return. And everything will change. There'll be an enormous earthquake. And of course, he will come and rule and reign and judge. That's the beautiful Mount of Olives with all the cemeteries there. And just to the east of us here, the ridge, we see a very famous place called the Hill of Evil Counsel. That's what Christians call it. It's also the place of the UN headquarters of the Middle East. And it was once the British headquarters and the Jordanian. So it has an infamous background, you might say. All of this is just a short distance from the old city, about a mile and a half. And it's on this ridge that Abraham, in the book of Genesis, says he first saw the place afar off. What was that place? That was Moriah. My teacher is Jehovah. So I love to bring people here. It's such a wonderful place. And I want to just say a moment about Irat Adonai, the holy fear of God, the reverence of God, the love of God. Abraham was willing to go and sacrifice Isaac. He was willing to give up that which was the closest and most beloved to him. And he said in response to the request of the Lord, Hineni. And I think that many of us have gone through shaking in the last couple of days, maybe many months, and maybe in the future we've got many more shakings to go. But remember, when God tests us, he's doing it for our good. He's doing it to refine us and purify us and bring us into a place where we know we have only love for God first and foremost, that we would love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and with all thy might. So Abraham is our father, of course, the father of all who believe. And so whether you're Gentile and Jew, if you are of the faith, You have Abraham as your father.